Hey guys, how's it going? I finally finished yet another video. Crazy, I know. Some of you may remember that a while back I decided to wrap up the Lich Hunter series with a final video featuring Valkyr. There's a playlist of all the Lich Hunting builds I made you can find on the channel somewhere. However, after several months of harassment by one of my Discord moderators, we're gonna do a one-off special Lich Hunter build again for Khora this time, specifically Khora Prime. Khora can be a good pick for Lich Hunting for a few reasons. First of all, she is naturally great for survival missions, and coincidentally, survival is one of the better mission types to run when farming murmurs. Her second ability, Ensnare, is also incredibly powerful as it does work on liches, albeit at a much reduced duration. Finally, the best reason to use Khora is Cat. Believe it or not, Venari can actually go toe-to-toe with a rank 4 or even rank 5 Lich, provided you can keep the cat alive, but that's made easy with the pack leader mod. Trust me, the cat is good cat. Here's the main setup, and here's an alternative setup for survival missions, which I feel is kinda overkill, but it's there to give you ideas for experimentation. Feel free to pause and take screenshots. Now let's go over some of the mods, cause I want to explain why I built Khora the way I did. Coaction Drift was the go-to for me, as the slot was already polarized for Naramon straight out of the foundry. I didn't feel like wasting time in another forma. And since high-level Grineers are chunk because of their armor, it just made sense to me to go with Corrosive Projection. And yes, I did bother to install an Aura Forma anyway, cause it's great. Primed Sure-Footed is an absolute must, at least in my opinion, because otherwise you're gonna get knocked around silly, and I wanted to spam the Brahma with no consequences. Rolling Guard is basically your survivability strat, and it does work surprisingly well when you're trying to close some distance between yourself and a Kuva Lich to deal some serious damage with a melee weapon, for example. All these armor and health mods here are just there so I could pump up Venari's stats to make sure it doesn't get one shot in higher level missions. Feel free to replace them as you see fit. The Karna set mods, on the other hand, have an interesting bonus where you gain a certain percentage of evasion and status immunity after killing an enemy with a heavy attack. I find that this helps with survivability, but only makes sense if you're going to go with a heavy attack setup for your melee, which I did. The alternate build is mostly the same apart from overextended and primed vigor. After some testing, I do believe it's better to just go with vitality over primed vigor for the purposes of boosting Venari's stats. The main feature of this build is that it has Resonator subsumed in place of Khora's third ability, which is called Venari, like the cat. Warframe can be a little confusing sometimes. If you're finding survivability an issue, you can opt for the alt build as a sort of base and tweak it to your liking. Otherwise, I feel the main setup is more than sufficient. But what about the cat side of things? Well, Venari isn't super complicated to mod, it's just that you're gonna end up spending a lot of time and forma trying to get to where I have, where the cat absolutely tears through level 190 enemies. Some of these mods here are difficult to get. I will admit I bought both Flame Gland and Bite for a total of about 40 plats. Bite is such a great mod, but with a 3.67% drop chance from Rotation C of Sabotage missions, I wasn't willing to go through probably a near infinite amount of runs and risk delaying this video even further. And that should do it for the build side of things. As for weapons, it's pretty simple really. Use the best ones you have in your inventory. You probably want to lean more towards crits, even if liches are susceptible to status to a limited degree. And with that said, every lich is going to be different, so you're just going to have to mod and set up your weapons accordingly. For my last Kuva Lich run, I decided on the Brahma, of course, Kuva New Core, I believe, and the Pennant. It already had a decent heavy attack build on it, so was a no-brainer. Overall, Khora is an interesting pick for Lich Hunting. If you ever get bored with other setups, consider going with the build I showed you today and watch your cat make mincemeat out of Grineer. Alright, that should do it for this video. Please feel free to check out the Discord server and Patreon if you'd like to support the channel. Otherwise, I'd like to just thank you guys for watching. Have a good day.